The journey back home felt like a step into the past for Ji Yun and Junho. The dirt path wound through familiar landscapes, and their conversation flowed as naturally as it had in their childhood. "You know," Junho began, his tone warm, "I still have all your letters. Every single one." Ji Yun smiled softly. "I have yours too. Reading them was always the best part of my day. I'd imagine what it would be like when you came home. But it's been so long." Junho's gaze lingered on Ji Yun, his expression tender. "I missed you, Ji Yun. More than I can put into words." The sincerity in Junho's voice made Ji Yun's chest tighten. "I missed you too," he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. After a brief pause, Junho chuckled, a playful glint in his eyes. "So, is your father still as harsh as always? I was hoping maybe he softened with time." Ji Yun let out a small laugh, though there was no humor in it. "He hasn't changed one bit. If anything, he's worse." Junho frowned, his jaw tightening. "You don't deserve that, Ji Yun. You never did." Ji Yun looked down, unwilling to meet Junho's concerned gaze. "It's just how things are." By the time they reached Junho's home, the sun was dipping below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the modest yet welcoming house. The door opened before they could knock, and Min Suk practically threw himself at his younger brother. "Junho! You're finally here!" Min Suk exclaimed, wrapping his arms around him. Junho laughed, "I'm back, brother. How have you been?" "I'm a soldier now, remember?" Min Suk grinned, puffing out his chest. "I'm practically perfect." Their father, Dae Hyun, stepped forward with a proud smile. "Welcome home, son. We've missed you." Junho bowed respectfully. "It's good to be back, father." Finally, Junho's mother, Lady Su-ji, emerged from the doorway, her smile warm but faltering slightly when her eyes landed on Ji Yun. "Junho, my boy," she said, embracing him. "You've done so well. We're all so proud of you." Ji Yun, standing a few steps behind, bowed politely. "Good evening, Lady Su-ji. Congratulations on Junho's return." Su-yun's smile thinned. "Ah, Ji Yun. How kind of you to bring him home. You must be tired from your walk. Perhaps you should head back now and rest." The words were polite enough, but the underlying dismissal was clear. Ji Yun nodded, his expression unreadable. "Of course, my lady. Thank you for your hospitality." Junho's brow furrowed, about to protest, but Ji Yun placed a hand on his arm. "It's all right," he said softly. "I'll see you tomorrow." As Ji Yun turned to leave, he felt Su-ji's gaze linger on him, cold and calculating. He had always known how she felt about him, despite her attempts to mask it with forced civility. To her, he was a blemish, a boy raised as a girl, an embodiment of something that didn't fit her rigid expectations. Ji Yun had long since accepted this reality and resolved to stay out of her way. Still, a pang of hurt lingered as he walked away, leaving the warm glow of Junho's home behind him. As Ji Yun walked away into the night, Junho's frustration simmered beneath his usually calm exterior. After they sat down for dinner, his mother's pleasant conversation grated on him, her earlier dismissal of Ji Yun still fresh in his mind. He didn't say much, but his mood was apparent, and the evening ended with an uncomfortable silence between him and Su-ji. When the family retired for the night, Su-ji waited until the household was still. Quietly, she nudged Dae Hyun awake. He groaned, rolling over to face her, his voice heavy with sleep. "What is it, Su-ji?" "It's the middle of the night. I need to speak with you about Junho," she said, her tone urgent. Dae Hyun propped himself up on an elbow, squinting at her. "Junho. Can't it wait until morning?" "No, it cannot," she snapped, lowering her voice to a sharp whisper. "You saw how he looked at Ji Yun tonight. Dae-hyun frowned, his sleepiness giving way to confusion. What are you talking about? Ji-yun has been his friend since childhood. Soo-ji shook her head, her expression tight with worry. That wasn't just friendship, Dae-hyun. The way he looked at him, it was more than that. I've feared this for years. Ji-yun is no ordinary boy. The way he was raised, his appearance, it's unnatural. I've always worried he'd confuse Junho. Dae-hyun sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. You're reading too much into it. Junho has always been close to Ji-yun, but that doesn't mean. I will not take chances. Soo-ji interrupted, her voice rising slightly before she caught herself. She took a deep breath and continued in a calmer but resolute tone. It's a taboo, Dae-hyun. No son of mine will be bewitched by someone like Ji-yun. He's a man, no matter how he carries himself or looks. I won't allow it. Dae-hyun hesitated, then sat up fully. What are you planning, Soo-ji? I've already found the perfect match for Junho, she declared, her eyes gleaming with determination. She's the daughter of Minister Hwang, beautiful, accomplished, and from a family that will elevate ours even further. Once everything is in place, I'll tell Junho, and we'll arrange the marriage as quickly as possible. Dae-hyun stared at her, incredulous. You want to marry Junho off now? What about Min-suk? He's the elder brother. Shouldn't he marry first? Min-suk will have his time, Soo-ji replied dismissively. This is about protecting Junho from a path he must not take. You saw how he looked at Ji-yun. I won't let it happen. I won't have my son's future destroyed by confusion. Soo-ji, this is extreme, Dae-hyun said, his tone pleading. Junho is a grown man. He should be able to choose his own path. Soo-ji's gaze hardened. And what if his choice leads him to disgrace? What if he loses everything because of this infatuation? Dae-hyun sighed deeply, rubbing his temples. I don't agree with you, but I know better than to argue when your mind is set. You're right about that, Soo-ji said coldly. This marriage will secure Junho's future and keep Ji-yun where he belongs, on the outskirts of our lives. As she lay back down, her mind raced with plans for the upcoming arrangement. Dae-hyun, still sitting upright, felt a pang of unease. He loved his wife, but her iron will often lead the family down paths he wished they could avoid. In the quiet of the room, he muttered under his breath, I hope you don't push him away with this, Soo-ji. But Soo-ji had already closed her eyes, her determination unshaken. For her, this was about preserving tradition, protecting her son, and ensuring her family's legacy, no matter the cost. Junho and Ji Yun spent nearly every free moment together, their bond growing stronger with each passing day. The shift in their dynamic was undeniable, though neither dared to speak it aloud. Junho, who had always been protective of Ji Yun, now found himself watching him in ways that startled even him. One afternoon, Junho suggested they take a walk through the bustling market. He claimed it was to reminisce about their shared childhood, but the way his eyes lingered on Ji Yun's every move betrayed a different motive. Ji Yun, as always, carried himself gracefully, attracting the attention of passers-by. When a group of merchants began flirting with Ji Yun, Junho's mood darkened. One of the men leaned in too close, a playful smile on his lips as he complimented Ji Yun's beauty. Before Junho could step in, Ji Yun diffused the situation with his usual charm. Ah, you flatter me too much, Ji Yun said, laughing softly as he gracefully stepped away. But I must be on my way. My fiancé wouldn't be too pleased to hear about this. The men quickly backed off, apologizing profusely, and Ji Yun turned to Junho with a sly grin. See? No need to worry. Junho forced a laugh, though his clenched fists betrayed his lingering irritation. I wasn't worried. That evening, as they walked home under the glow of lanterns, the air between them grew heavier. A quiet moment near the bridge turned into something neither of them expected. Ji Yun, leaning against the rail, gazed out at the water. Junho stood beside him, his heart pounding in his chest. Ji Yun, he began hesitantly. Ji Yun turned to him, his expression soft. What is it? For a moment, Junho couldn't speak. He reached out, his hand brushing against Ji Yun's, and their eyes met. The world seemed to fade away. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, they leaned closer. But just as their lips were about to meet, Ji Yun pulled back, his cheeks flushed. We shouldn't, he whispered, his voice barely audible. Junho stepped back, nodding reluctantly. You're right. I'm sorry. The tension lingered as they walked home in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. The next morning, Junho adjusted his freshly pressed robes, nervously fiddling with the sleeves. Today was his first day at the palace's astrology department, a prestigious position he had earned through years of hard work. Beside him, Min Suk, his elder brother and a third-rank soldier in the royal army, leaned against the doorway with an easygoing grin. Ready for your grand debut? Min Suk teased, nudging Junho lightly. Junho sighed, pretending to ignore him. Let's just get going. I don't want to be late on my first day. As they prepared to leave, Min Suk suddenly chuckled. You know, Ji Yun's causing quite a stir in town these days. Every market stall I pass, someone's talking about the most beautiful woman in the city. If they only knew. Junho stiffened slightly but tried to keep his expression neutral. What do you mean? Min Suk smirked. Come on, little brother. Don't play dumb. Ji Yun is stunning, and his secret only makes him more mysterious. People are naturally drawn to him. It's no wonder they can't stop talking. Junho rubbed the back of his neck, awkwardly avoiding eye contact. Well, it's not exactly his fault. I know. But it's still sad, Min Suk said more seriously. With how complicated his life is, I wonder if he'll ever find someone who can love him for who he truly is. His father isn't making it easy. The mention of Ji Yun's struggles made Junho's heart ache. His brother's words hit too close to home, and he couldn't help but think about the moments he and Ji Yun had shared recently, the lingering looks, the almost kiss. Ji Yun's stronger than you think, Junho said softly. He'll figure things out. Min Suk gave him a curious glance but didn't press further. Well, let's go. The palace waits for no one. The grand palace loomed ahead, its towering spires gleaming in the morning sunlight. Junho couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and nervousness as they approached. This is where I leave you, Min Suk said, clapping his younger brother on the back. The prince is waiting for me. Let's just say he's not known for his patience. Junho raised an eyebrow. The crown prince? What's he like? Min Suk shrugged. A little spoiled, maybe, but not as bad as people think. Just don't keep him waiting, or you'll see a whole new side of him. With that, Min Suk disappeared into the palace corridors, leaving Junho to find his way to the astrology department. Elsewhere in the palace, Crown Prince Kyung Hoon slouched in his chair, trying to look engaged as his mother droned on about the upcoming bridal competition. You need a wife, Kyung Hoon, the queen insisted, her tone firm. And not just any wife. A queen must be beautiful, intelligent, and dignified. Thankfully, we've narrowed it down to a few exceptional candidates. Kyung Hoon resisted the urge to roll his eyes. I'm sure they're all wonderful, he said flatly. The queen ignored his sarcasm and continued. There's Min Seo, of course, who comes from the most distinguished family. There's Hina, Beol Na, and then there's Jeol Mi. She's the daughter of a wealthy Lord Seo. She's only 21 but has already won the annual beauty contest. They say her beauty is unparalleled, well, except for Min Seo's, of course. The prince's disinterest wavered slightly at the mention of Jeol Mi, he asked, sitting up a little straighter. Yes, Ji-mi Lord Seo's daughter, the queen said, handing him a small portrait. I haven't met her, but I doubt she's any match for Min Seo. Kyung-hoon stared at the portrait, his heart skipping a beat. The young woman depicted had an uncanny resemblance to Ji-yun, her delicate features, the softness in her eyes, and most strikingly, her rare golden hair. Yellow hair, he murmured, his mind racing. What was that? The queen asked. Nothing, Kyung-hoon replied quickly, setting the portrait aside. He told himself it was impossible. Ji-yun was a man, and this was clearly a woman. Still, the resemblance was enough to unsettle him. As his mother continued talking, Kyung-hoon's thoughts drifted. He couldn't shake the image of Ji-yun from his mind. Could it really be a coincidence? Or was there more to this woman named Ji-mi than met the eye? Kyung-hoon tapped his fingers impatiently on the table as his mother continued to drone on about prospective brides. The air in the room felt suffocating, and he welcomed the interruption when Min Suk arrived at the doorway, bowing respectfully. Your Highness, it's time for your guard rotation. Shall we go? Min Suk said, glancing at the queen. Kyung-hoon shot out of his seat with uncharacteristic enthusiasm. Yes. Let's go. The queen frowned, clearly displeased by her son's eagerness to leave. We're not finished here, Kyung-hoon. We'll discuss this later. Yes, later, Kyung-hoon said dismissively as he followed Min Suk out. As they walked through the palace halls, Min Suk spoke with barely contained excitement. Your Highness, I've been looking forward to today. My younger brother Junho has just started working in the astrology department, and I thought I'd introduce him to you. Kyung-hoon raised an eyebrow. Your brother? What's he like? Min Suk grinned. Brilliant, hardworking, maybe a bit stubborn, but he's earned his position. I think you'll get along. When they arrived at the astrology department, Junho was deeply engrossed in his work, meticulously examining star charts. He didn't notice their approach until Min Suk called out. Junho! Look who I've brought to meet you. Junho turned around, his polite smile faltering slightly when he saw Kyung-hoon. The prince stood tall, his presence commanding and his expression unreadable. So, you're the new astrologer, Kyung-hoon said, his tone clipped. Yes, Your Highness, Junho replied, bowing. Kyung-hoon's eyes scanned the room, his gaze lingering on the organized chaos of charts and notes scattered across the table. Your workspace is. I'm sure you're aware that there are rules about keeping your workspace tidy. Did you read the manual? Junho was confused. Kyung-hoon shook his head and continued. Are you sure you're suited for this position? Junho straightened, his jaw tightening. I assure you, Your Highness, my work speaks for itself. Perhaps you should review my reports before making judgments. Min Suk cleared his throat nervously, sensing the tension rising. Kyung-hoon smirked. Confidence is admirable, but arrogance isn't. Make sure you know the difference. Junho's fists clenched at his sides, but he kept his tone civil. I could say the same, Your Highness. Min Suk stepped between them, laughing awkwardly. Well, isn't this a lively first meeting? Let's all calm down, shall we? Neither man looked pleased as they parted ways, each silently deciding they didn't like the other. Later that evening, Junho returned home with a scowl on his face. Ji-yun was sitting outside the house, gazing at the moon as he purposely waited to catch a glimpse of Junho, but he immediately noticed the other person's sour mood. What happened? Ji-yun asked, tilting his head in concern. Junho sighed heavily and slumped onto the bench beside him. I met the crown prince today. Oh. Ji-yun's heart skipped a beat. He's insufferable, Junho muttered. Arrogant, dismissive, the kind of person who thinks the world revolves around him. Ji-yun's unease grew as Junho described Kyung-hoon. Memories of that fateful night flooded his mind, and it all clicked. Kyung-hoon, the crown prince, was the same boy he once knew. Ji Yun. Junho's voice broke through his thoughts. You look pale. What's wrong? Ji Yun hesitated, then finally spoke. Junho, there's something I need to tell you. Junho turned to him, his expression serious. What is it? Ji Yun took a deep breath. My father, he's holding Yuna and Han Su hostage. He wants to force me into marrying the prince. That's why everything has been happening the way it has. He told him everything about his father's plans and why he made him live a lie his whole life. Junho's face darkened with anger. What? That's insane. How could he do something like that? He's obsessed with revenge, Ji Yun said quietly. And now I'm trapped. If I don't comply, my friends' lives are at risk. Junho stood abruptly, his fists clenched. We're not letting him get away with this. We'll figure out a way to rescue them. Ji Yun looked up at him, his eyes filled with both hope and fear. How? If we're caught, it'll only make things worse. We'll be smart about it, Junho said firmly. We'll find Yuna and Han Su and get them out of danger before the selection announcement begins. Then you'll leave this place for good. As the cool night breeze rustled the leaves, Ji Yun stood beside Junho, his heart pounding. They had spent hours talking, but Ji Yun knew it was time to confront the storm brewing within him. Junho, Ji Yun began hesitantly, his voice barely above a whisper. If things get worse, would you be willing to run away with me? Junho turned to him, startled. Run away? Ji Yun nodded, meeting his gaze. There was a flicker of vulnerability in his eyes. I mean, leave everything behind. Escape all of this, the schemes, the expectations. Just, live freely somewhere far away. The weight of the moment hung heavy in the air. Junho opened his mouth to respond, but the words refused to form. Ji Yun's indirect confession lingered between them, unspoken but unmistakable. Before either of them could say more, the sharp sound of a door sliding open broke the tension. Ji Yun, Junho's mother called, her tone cold but polite. It's late. You should go home. Ji Yun's shoulders stiffened as he turned to bow politely. Of course, madam. As Ji Yun disappeared into the night, Junho's mother grabbed his arm, her grip firm. Come inside, she said curtly. Junho followed his mother into the house, where his father, Dae Hyun, was seated at the low table, sipping tea. The room was quiet, but the tension was palpable. Sit, his mother commanded, gesturing to the empty cushion. Junho complied, glancing nervously between his parents. I've made a decision, his mother began, her tone leaving no room for argument. You will be getting married. Junho froze. Married? To whom? A fine young lady I've chosen for you, she replied, her voice firm. The daughter of a reputable family. The arrangements are nearly complete. Dae Hyun's expression darkened, and he set his teacup down with a loud clink. This is sudden. Don't you think Junho should have a say in this? His mother's eyes narrowed. He will have no say because this is necessary. She turned her gaze to Junho. Unless, of course, you want to admit that you're in love with Ji Yun. Junho's breath caught, and his face turned pale. Mother, that's absurd, he said quickly, his voice shaking slightly. Is it? She countered, leaning forward. The way you look at him, the time you spend together. It's disgraceful. If you don't go through with this marriage, everyone will know the truth. Junho clenched his fists. There's nothing to admit. I'll marry the girl. Dae Hyun looked at his son with pained eyes, his lips pressed into a thin line. Are you sure, Junho? You don't have to. It's fine, father, Junho interrupted, his voice tight. I'll do it. His mother smiled triumphantly. Good. It's settled then. Meanwhile, Ji Yun sat in his room, lost in thought. His mind raced with memories of Kyung-hoon, his childhood friend and now the crown prince. The revelation had left him shaken. How could that boy he made friends with become part of the web of manipulation surrounding him? A sudden knock at the door snapped him out of his reverie. His father entered, holding a sealed letter. This came from the palace, his father said, handing it to him. Ji Yun's hands trembled as he opened the letter. His eyes widened as he read the contents. "You've been selected," his father said with a satisfied smirk. "One of the candidates to become the crown prince's bride." Ji Yun looked up, his face pale. This can't be." "It is," his father replied coldly. "And it's the perfect opportunity. Once you're in the palace, you'll be in the heart of their power. You can carry out the plan and avenge our family. Or," he added with a sneer, "you can choose to do nothing and watch as everything crumbles before you." Ji Yun's chest tightened, fear clawing at him. "Father, this is too dangerous. What if something goes wrong?" "Then you'd better make sure it doesn't," his father said sharply. "You leave for the palace soon. Decide now whether you'll fight for our cause or betray your own blood." As his father left the room, Ji Yun sat in stunned silence, the weight of the decision crushing him. His mind was a whirlwind of fear, anger, and heartbreak. How could he navigate a world where every choice seemed to lead to destruction? Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more episodes.